I thought I'd settled into a peaceful suburban life when I moved to Willow Creek, but then I met Deborah. She was the kind of woman who acted like she owned the entire block, strutting around with her made-up HOA rules and a pair of wannabe cops trailing her like loyal dogs. Little did she know, she'd picked a fight with the wrong person. I'm an FBI agent, and I don't back down from threats. What unfolded next was a storm of deception and power plays that shook the neighborhood and my career to its core. It all started one chilly morning when a thunderous pounding on my door jolted me awake. My windows rattled as I stumbled to the front hall, half expecting an emergency. Through the peephole, I saw two figures in matching uniforms, their cheap badges gleaming with the words HOA Security. They looked like they'd raided a costume shop, but their stern glares were all business. My pulse quickened. I cracked the door and said, "What's this about?" The taller one, a guy with a chiseled jaw, pointed at me. "Official business. Your property's in violation. We need to inspect your garage." I bristled. "Violation? There's nothing in my garage that breaks any rules." The shorter one, a woman with cold eyes, snapped. "Don't make this difficult. We're authorized by the HOA. No mention of warrants or real police." I kept my cool. "I'm an FBI agent. Show me proper documentation, or you're not stepping foot inside." The tall guy smirked. "FBI doesn't exempt you from our codes." That's when I noticed Deborah lurking behind them, her lips curled in a smug grin. She'd been a thorn in my side since day one, nitpicking everything from my lawn to my mailbox. This was her show, and my gut churned with unease. I stepped onto the porch, voice steady. "Deborah, what's going on?" She tilted her head, dripping with fake sweetness. "Just enforcing the rules, Ethan. Your job doesn't give you a free pass." The fake cops nodded. "Reports of suspicious activity in your garage," the woman said. I laughed, sharp and tense. "Suspicious? Like what?" Deborah shrugged. "Late-night noises. Could be anything, hazardous materials, maybe worse." My jaw tightened. "That's absurd, and you know it. This is harassment." The tall guy waved a flimsy paper. No seal, no signature, just a typed investigation notice. I held my ground. "That's not official. You have no right to barge in." Deborah sighed dramatically. "Keep arguing, and I'll add defiance to your violations." I shot back. "Since when does the HOA have its own police? We've got volunteers for yard checks, not this nonsense." The woman flashed a plastic badge. "We've got new authority. Step aside." I shook my head. "Not without a real warrant." The man loomed closer. "Don't test us." My anger flared, but I knew better than to escalate physically. "Try coming in, and you'll face charges," I said, crossing my arms. That's when my phone buzzed me, "Boss, calling at an ungodly hour." My stomach sank. "One moment," I told them, stepping inside. The tall guy shouted, "We're not done." Ignoring him, I answered. My boss's voice was taut. "Get to the office now. We've got a problem." I asked if it was about a complaint, but he only said, "In person." I returned to the door. Deborah and her goons were still there, glaring. "I'm leaving," I said. "We'll handle this later." The woman sneered. "Leave, and we'll mark you uncooperative." Deborah stepped closer, eyes icy. "Want your neighbors to see you run?" I sighed. "You can't arrest me, Deborah." She smirked. "I'm not. They are." The man waved zip ties, like he meant to cuff me. I forced calm. "Impersonating an officer is a crime. You know that." The woman grabbed a radio, probably fake too. Deborah clucked her tongue. "Those citations aren't fake, Ethan." I snapped. "They're worthless." The man dangled the zip ties. "Want to test that?" I realized they were baiting me, hoping I'd snap. Taking a slow breath, I said, "I'm handling an urgent matter at work. Leave my property." Deborah shrugged. "We're watching. The HOA has eyes." I laughed bitterly. "The real HOA, maybe. Not you." They backed off, but the woman snapped my photo. Deborah's mocking smile lingered. "For the records." I slammed the door, my phone buzzing again, me boss, urging me to hurry. My nerves were shot, but I grabbed my keys and left. At the end of the street, their fake cruiser sat, lights off. Deborah's car was gone, probably spreading lies to neighbors. I drove to the FBI field office, checking my mirrors for that cruiser, my boss's dire tone echoing in my head. Inside, my boss was waiting, looking grim. "You took your time," he snapped, leading me to his office. He demanded to know why local authorities were reporting my threats. I explained the fake cops and Deborah's scheme, but he wasn't convinced. Higher-ups are flagging this. Misconduct claims are piling up. I can't shield you if it escalates. My stomach dropped. It's a setup, sir. Deborah's behind it. He sighed. Prove they're fake, or you're facing a review. A text from a block number hit my phone. Watch your step. We know who you are. I nearly crushed the device. Back home, the fake cruiser was parked again. A threatening voicemail waited. Stop digging, or it gets worse. I tried contacting the real HOA, but their line was dead, and my email bounced. The neighborhood website was outdated, no mention of security. Deborah had cut off every channel. I called a local cop, Martinez, who promised to check the cruiser's plates. If it's private security, they can't act like cops, he said. But neighbors were turning against me, whispering behind fences. One, Lisa, showed me a fake fine for her house paint, terrified of eviction. I called the HOA, but it's disconnected, she said, eyes brimming. I told her not to pay, but she shrugged, defeated. If no one stops them, maybe it's real. At work, my boss grilled me again. More complaints, he said, tapping a folder. Higher-ups aren't happy. I showed him the fake citations, but he shook his head. If they're private security, I can't make this vanish. That night, I confronted Deborah in her driveway. You're scaring neighbors with these fake cops. What? She smiled thinly. It's not personal, Ethan. I'm just enforcing standards. A faux cop interrupted, flashing a badge. Move along. I stepped back, fuming, but found old HOA records showing Deborah's failed push for a security program. She'd revived it illegally. Martinez called back, the plates traced to an unlicensed security firm, but without neighbor statements, he couldn't act. Internal Affairs summoned me, citing aggressive behavior. The complaints were half-truths, but they made me look guilty. Then, a fake HOA notice appeared on my door, demanding a fine. I left Deborah a furious voicemail. An hour later, a block number hissed, "Don't threaten her. We know your boss." I felt trapped, my career and home under siege. One night, Lisa shared old newsletters showing Deborah's rise in the HOA. A 6-month-old letter, signed by her, mentioned third-party security. Is this legal? Lisa asked. I shook my head. No, but she's untouchable. The next day, I brought my evidence to Martinez. He admitted, it's bigger than I thought, but we need signed statements. At a stoplight, a black SUV tailed me, peeling off when I reached the station. My boss texted, talk tomorrow. Urgent. I barely slept, jolted awake at 2 a.m. by a car door slamming. A shadowy figure stared at my house before driving off. At the bureau, my boss dropped a bombshell, a dozen complaints, including property damage. It's absurd, I said, but he showed me signed statements. Deborah had coerced neighbors. Prove they're fake, or you're done, he warned. That evening, the fake cruiser parked outside my house. I approached, and a voice snarled, back off, or you'll regret it. My resolve hardened. The breaking point came at an FBI inquiry. A panel grilled me about threats to local authorities. Then Deborah walked in, polished and carrying a briefcase. My jaw dropped. What's she doing here? An agent said she represented the neighborhood watch. She presented files alleging noise, break-ins, and my defiance. I snapped. She's extorting neighbors with fake fines. The panel demanded proof. Then, a bombshell, Deborah's uncle was the deputy director. I tried to handle this quietly, she said, but Ethan escalated. My career hung by a thread. The inquiry ended with a promise to investigate both sides, but Deborah's smug exit told me she thought she'd won. That night, Lisa texted, they're at my door. I rushed over, finding the fake cops pounding on her porch. Sign this, or you're out. They demanded, wanting her to accuse me. I stepped in, badge out. This is intimidation. Leave. They shoved me, waving zip ties. Martinez appeared, badge gleaming. ID now, he ordered. The fake cops flashed their badges, but he dismissed them. That's not real. Leave, or you're arrested. They fled. Lisa agreed to give a statement, a small victory. A note in my mailbox announced a community meeting at Deborah's house. It screamed trap, but I went, recorder in pocket. The room was packed, Deborah at a podium, praising her HOA police. I stood. They're unlicensed. This is a scam. Gasps erupted. I showed Martinez's findings. Neighbors demanded to see her citations and signed. Fake. One faux cop bolted. Martinez arrived, cuffing Deborah. "You're coming with me," he said. Her empire collapsed. An HOA audit exposed Deborah's theft of fine money. Her uncle resigned amid scandal. Internal affairs cleared me, and neighbors apologized. My career survived, and Willow Creek returned to peace. Deborah's reign was over, but I'd never forget how close she came to ruling us all with fear.